Hi, everybody. Brother Paul here. Glad you can join me again for today's short sharing. Reading from Galatians today, Galatians chapter 4, and looking from verse 1 to 7. So, Galatians chapter 4, verse 1 through 7. It says this, and I'm reading from the New King James Version. The New King James Version. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, does not differ at all from a slave. Remember that. Though he is master of all, but is under guardians and stewards until the time appointed by the Father. Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. And we still are under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under law, to redeem those who were under law, that we might receive the adoptions as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent forth his Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying out, Abba, Father. Therefore, you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of God through Christ. So that's the passage today. And the first question that comes to my mind is this. How many names are there of God in the Bible? I mean, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, many of us would remember God's names in some of the passages in the Old Testament. One very common one that many people use would be Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Tsidkenu, Jehovah Nisi, Elohim, Adonai, etc., etc. Yet, when we look at all these names, they are basically description of God's character. It's basically a description of who God is to us at certain time of our life. And when you put all these names together, you find that all these names is all the different perspective, the different pictures for us to see who God really is to us. But yet, as the Apostle Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 4, a church that wanted to pursue the old religious law to become or stay righteous, the Apostle Paul actually never used many or at all, or if any at all, of the names of God in the Old Testament. What does he say? He says that if you are a child of God, then you are an heir. But if you allow yourself to be under the law, then you are no different as a slave. Now, isn't that beautiful if you look at it correctly? That as a child, you do not differ from a slave, even though he is master of all. So anyone that wants to go back to the law puts themselves at a disadvantage instead of enjoying and making use of whatever God has given to us as sons of God. We put ourselves as slaves, no longer son, because we need to have the law, we need to have all the Torah, all the rituals and all the tradition to teach us how to behave. Whereas God has a totally different way. God, even though he's Jehovah Jireh, God, even though he is Jehovah Nisi, he's our righteousness, he's our provider, God comes and he uses one name, Abba. He wants us to see him as Father God. And as Father God, you think about it, not only is He our Redeemer, not only is He our Creator, but He is also our Father, one who wants to embrace us, one who wants to, the very one who wants to love us and show us so much that He does love us, that Jesus was sent to die for us, that you and I can be forever righteous in the eyes of God for all eternity. It says this in verse 3, but when the fullness of time had come, verse 4, when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth His Son, born of a woman, born under the law, verse 5, to redeem those who are under the law. So you and I, we are not under the law. So why put ourselves under the law? That we might receive the adoptions as sons. And because you are sons, because you are sons, God has sent His Holy Spirit, the Spirit of His Son, into your heart and my heart. And what is our response? Not calling Him Jehovah Jireh, not calling Him Jehovah Rapha, but Abba, Father. Can you imagine that the Father that you always wanted, the Father that will care for you, the Father that will protect you, the Father that you never had, is right now totally yours for you to embrace and allow Him to embrace you. Think about it. We become sons of God, not because we are good. We become sons of God, not because we have done anything. We become sons of God because of the finished work of Jesus Christ. And because of the finished work of Jesus Christ, we are free from all condemnation. We are free from all punishment. We are free from all that is set in the law against us. The 613 laws in the Old Testament, none of them can separate us from the love of Jesus Christ. And because we are in Christ, we have this wonderful privilege to sit down next to Abba, next to God, and call Him Abba, Father. More than that, we have the Holy Spirit who lives in us. Think about this. When Noah set off the pigeon, when he was in the ark and he set off the pigeon, many a times the pigeon or the dove came back. Finally, after 7 days, the Bible says that in one occasion, 7 days, he sent off the dove. And when the dove came back, Noah saw there was a olive branch on his beak. And Noah knew that, the time of resting has come. The next day, the dove was set forth, never came back. And when Jesus was baptized, the dove came down. And yet Jesus on the cross says, my God, why have you forsaken me? But on the day of Pentecost, guess what? The Holy Spirit found His permanent resting place that is in you and I. Not because we are good, not because we've done anything well, but because Jesus made us sons of the living God. And therefore, as sons of the living God, the fullness of God, whatever God has, now belongs to us. And therefore, you have a choice. Either you want to be a slave or a son that enjoys the fullness of God. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you healthy, blessed, and even throughout this whole time as you grow in your knowledge as a son, may the Lord's wisdom through the leading of His Holy Spirit expands your heart to be embraced by the one who loves you and want to be known to you as Abba, Father. God bless you. Bye-bye.